Today's guest is Jacquelin Smith. She has experienced a number of near-death experiences. She is also internationally known animal and star being communicator, psychic, healer, certified hypnotherapist, and metaphysical teacher. Jacquelin, thank you very much for giving me some of your time today. I really appreciate it, and welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on your show. I appreciate it.
All right. My audience is really into near-death experiences. So can you tell us about some of your most prominent ones?
Sure. When I was 6 years old, I took a bad fall downstairs and I found myself leaving my body and going into the other side, into the light. And when I went to the other side, I saw a number of beings there. There were angels there, and they were like taking care of me. I had hurt my body some. My body had been hurt from what had happened. And so they were just kind of taking care of me. And I was saying, well, I don't really want to go back to Earth. And so they were saying, yes, but you have work to do on Earth and you can't stay here. And I felt very close to the angels since I was only 6 years old. I had remembered them, from before I came here, before I incarnated. And so what happened was to heal some of the injuries I had, they actually took me on a starship. And the beings there are actually I call them my star parents. But at 6 years old, they took me on the ship, and the angels and the star beings, they're tall white Zeta masters and a couple others, mantis beings, and that they gathered around me and they healed my body. They were, just healing me from the fall because I was hurt pretty bad. So after that, they sat with me and actually had to talk me into coming back to Earth. I really did not want to come back because it's so amazing over there. It's just pure bliss and joy, pure love. There's no kinds of limitations. It's just peaceful and quiet. And so finally, after they worked on me and did some of the healing work with me, they said, you have a lot to do on Earth, and you need to learn how to read and write. And you have missions to do that and to talk to people on Earth and share your experiences and talk to them. With being a hybrid, they said you have your place to work with others and to help awaken others as well. So with that, they made me come back to Earth. And, I have to say I was pretty bummed out. And so, but, you go on. And so even as when I was 6 years old, I was very psychic. And after that experience, I was having all these beings who had passed over, asking me to help them, from the other side. And at 6 years old, what do you do? I was throwing the covers over my head because I didn't know what to do with all these beings who were coming to me. And so that's kind of never stopped in some ways. And I had another near-death experience in a serious car accident I was in. I was in the hospital for a while. And I won't go into all the details. It was a pretty heavy car accident, but But I'll just say that a woman turned in front of me and my car hit a telephone pole. And so I was in the hospital for a while, but I had gone to the other side. And again, there were star beings over there and angels who were, who were trying to help me stay in my body, because I wasn't sure again that I really wanted to come back and be here. And so they said, your life will be changing. You have more things to do. And really, after that car accident, my whole life changed in really dramatic ways. I became more psychic, and really started working with people in a more in-depth way. I had been working for a veterinarian and could no longer lift heavy dogs and all of that. So I started doing meditation to control the pain, and then all my gifts just started opening, and my whole life just expanded in pretty incredible ways. And there were 7 star beings in my earlier experience, 7 beings who were standing in front of me, just these beings of pure light. And they were saying, we are reflecting you. We are you. And they showed me my soul. They showed me my light. And so they said, this is who you are. And so with that, then they returned me, to my body and back here.
You mentioned angels and star beings. What is the difference between the two?
Yeah, that's a good question. In a certain way, I just consider all of them star beings. But I guess for me, the angels are really from a different realm. They are from the angelic realm, and they do have different missions than star beings have. The angels oversee they oversee certain dimensions, and star beings but they do come together. I have seen angels on ships, and the angels are overseeing the star beings. There's no hierarchy, but they all play their part, and they know what part they play, and they know they're all one. So it's all very harmonious.
That's interesting.
The angels are very highly evolved.
I believe that you mentioned earlier that you said you were a hybrid. Do you mean that you're a star seed and this is your first incarnation on Earth, or something else?
Well, the way I view that is everyone's a star seed on Earth, from what I've been told. None of us are from Earth. We're from the stars. And in the bigger sense, we are all hybrids as well, because we've all lived many star being lives. So kind of how I describe hybrid in a little different way, I guess, is when I was still in my mother's womb, my mother was taken aboard a starship, and the tall white Zeta Masters, who I call my star mom and dad, they injected, we could say, a DNA cocktail of 7 different DNA races. So I was literally genetically altered. So I have that DNA, and that's, could be considered a little different from a starseed who hasn't had that experience in this lifetime. But again, in the bigger sense, we're all hybrids, but I have a very high frequency of hybrid in me, if that makes sense.
Do you know if you have had hybrid children?
Yes, I I have lots of hybrid children, and this is going to sound ridiculous, but I have like 40 hybrid kids.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason being what they can do, every race has their own way of how they approach creating hybrid children. The races that I've worked with or who have worked with me, they can actually take a strand of my hair, which they did it in 2013, and create how many hybrid babies they want to, because my DNA is in my strand of hair. So they said, well, we're evolving also, and we're evolving our techniques and how we do things. So it's not actually getting pregnant and carrying the baby and then them taking it at some point. I had that experience when I was younger, and then then they have gone to these other techniques, and it depends on what race you're dealing with too. But yeah, I love it. That they can just take a strand of hair and create a hybrid.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was gonna say, I thought I was gonna ask you, but you beat me to it. It was like, my impression was maybe they were harvesting your eggs, but it looks like they have a much upgraded version of what they're doing now.
And I think it depends on what race, what star race.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, I was dealing with tall white Zeta Masters,
Mm-hmm.
mainly, and Arcturian and Mantis. So I'm not sure about some of the other races.
If I can just kind of jump back into your NDE for a second, is those experiences like a memory that fades away and it's fading away and hard to remember, or are those experiences like always with you and they don't fade?
I think that, well, I certainly know I don't forget them. and actually I like the feeling of what it felt like being on the other side.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes I will actually focus on, especially when I was 6 years old, being on the other side and how wonderful that was, being with the angels and star beings. And so it's a heavenly feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And who wouldn't want that, right? So,
Right.
but no, they don't fade for me. I don't forget them.
Mm-hmm. You said that you have star parents, and you came back from meeting your star parents. Did you feel like your earthly parents were not like your real parents, or did you feel different towards them after meeting your star parents?
Yeah, I think that my star parents, who are tall white Zeta Masters, I call them, they're called Amitha and Zazu, and they are, they're very joyful, highly evolved beings, and they know how to love unconditionally. And of course, those of us, on Earth have not learned how to do that yet. So there's quite a difference, because I was totally accepted on the ship. I was allowed to be a child and play, and they just loved me no matter what. Not that way on Earth.
Let me ask you this: is what I find curious is, when you say that they are your star parents, are you saying that they birthed you in some way or created your soul, or what makes them be your parents there?
Okay, so first of all, their DNA was injected into me.
Okay.
So, and they were the main star beings on the ship who watched over me, who taught me, who were there for me. The other ones, there were some other ones too, in Arcturian Zeta, who was kind of like a nanny for me. But they were like my star parents, and I would be there starting at the age of 2 or 3, almost every night. So I had two homes. I had the home on the ship and then my Earth home. And so for me, they were and are my I, my star parents. Yeah, I call them that. Yeah, and they're just amazing, highly evolved beings.
Since you're still here and been here for quite a while, do you feel lonely or homesick for your star home?
A good question. Um, yeah, I would say that I do, definitely. I do visit. I do visit the ship. And yeah, sometimes I do feel lonely. Growing up, I felt very much alone, like I didn't fit in anywhere. And so it was challenging to grow up, you know, having these two homes. And although when I would come back to Earth, I would kind of forget it and then go back. And then I wouldn't want to come back to Earth. So, but I think, yeah, I definitely get homesick in that, but um, I'm very, let me put it this way, my plate's very full on Earth with doing what I'm here to do. I'm working every day with people with their star origins, or working with light language, or working with animals, and so um, it's I get the opportunity to be sharing and working with people to help assist them with their experiences and everything with star beings.
You mentioned light language. What is that and why is it important?
Yeah, light language is actually, I was speaking light language when I was 3 years old on the ship. And light language really is speaking light. And what I love about light language is it's very joyful. It's bypasses the mind ego, but they are languages that our souls, the cells in our bodies remember, or people might remember from um, a different lifetime when they were a star being. Because when I speak light language, someone will say, that sounds really familiar. So there's these different starlight languages which I speak, and it really connects people, helps connect them to their families. And also the light language helps to clear people of old patterns and old identities, helps them to be more of their authentic selves. And so I work with a lot of people with light language consults, and I play the singing bowls and speak whatever comes through, whoever comes through, because they know what that person needs. It could be the Divine Mother, it could whoever comes through, because we're all light. We're all light language, really, if that makes any sense.
Mm-hmm.
And it's important because it really is one of our next evolutionary steps that we're taking, for people to be really speaking the light language from their souls, to speak their own soul language. And so it really helps people to raise their frequencies and to really remember who they truly are, and to live from the heart. So light language is really amazing and joyful. I speak it every day, and it's great fun.
You mentioned that your parents were tall. I wanted to ask you earlier and I let it slip by. I think are you saying theta masters or zeta
Oh,
masters?
White Zeta, Zeta.
Zeta masters.
Yeah.
Okay. So when you say
Yes.
tall, are they like that? Some people say that the beings are like tall Nordic looking beings with like blonde hair,
Well,
blue eyes, light, very pale skin.
well, with my star parents, these are not the tall. Let's see, these are not the tall whites in Nevada. that are talked about by Charles Hall. This is a different whole lineage, who we call tall white zetas. They can vary. My star parents were about 5'6" or so, and they have the big black eyes, and they have 3 fingers on each hand, and then another digit that kind of looks like a thumb, and they're shimmering white light, we could say. And I did have the wonderful experience of being able to see under them when they kind of just take off their skin, and they become these beautiful globes of like royal blue light, just pure light. And then they showed me how to do that on the ship, and then we would all merge. It was like really like a sacred communion of oneness that really is beyond words. I mean, what can you say? Heaven, bliss.
Sure.
But amazing, just amazing energy, just becoming that energy again.
It sounded like to me like they're gray like aliens, but tall versions.
Some would consider the zeta the gray aspect.
Mm-hmm.
So, but there are different, sizes of all the different races. I mean, some are 5, 6, or 7. Some can be 6 feet tall. Some can be 3 feet tall.
Mm-hmm.
So, like there was an Arcturian Zeta on the ship who, like, I called him my nanny, who was about 3.5 feet tall, which was a great playmate when I was 3, 4, 5, 6 years old.
Yeah, that's perfect.
We used to play catch with balls of light. It was really fun.
Can you give us any kind of description of what the ship looked like?
Yeah, well, the ship is really, or it's organic and it's holographic. And so when, if they wanted to, let's say, jump or move into another dimension, they would set the intention, and the ship, they would align, everyone would align their intentions. The ship and the beings on the ship would align their intention, and then it would just happen. And so the ship, all the rooms were round, and one could perceive the roundness as walls, but there were really no walls. They were holographic, and there were light language symbols on the walls. And actually, I used to stick my fingers in the symbols on the wall, and the symbols would come off in the wall and move around and dance with me, and because they're actually living entities or beings. And so there was a room where that's where we merged as one. It was a round room, and there was like, I don't know what to call it, like a pillar of light in the center of the room, and we would go into this pillar of light to become one. And then we would also go places from there as well, to other dimensions, because they took me other places to meet other beings, some animal-like beings and that, and showed me past lives and did that. There were healing rooms. There was a room with tall white tubes with fluid moving up and down, and blue fluid as well. And that they said that part of that was for running the ship, because I used to sit and watch it and run my fingers up and down the tube, and they explained that it was for partly running the ship, but they also used crystals to run the ship as well. But the ship, this is, again, we don't have words for it, but the ship felt physical and it didn't feel physical to me. And when I walked, I would kind of float. I wasn't really like walking like here on the ground. I think, it's such a high frequency on the ship. It's just unbelievable, because it's just these highly evolved beings, and they're so more evolved than we are. And it's just love. And they're all in sync, at least where I was, everyone was in sync and harmony, worked together. And also in the ship, there were like some spirals, looked like a staircase almost. And you could actually go in this spiral and move up, and it could do a number of things. It could heal someone, or it could also shift DNA. And so that was pretty impressive. The mantis are very connected with that. There were mantis on the ship as well.
Was it difficult for you to accept that you had to keep coming back and play out a role here?
Yes. Yeah, seriously. Yeah, it's been, in some ways it's been very challenging for me to deal with the density of Earth, and I love words, I love the write, and at the same time, words can get in the way and separate people. And with telepathy, which is what we did on the ship, it was all telepathic communication and light language. It's direct. You can't misunderstand, because you know each other's thoughts and feelings without words. It's so direct, and so it's an amazing experience to have. And so I learned that on the ship. So it made it a little difficult for me in school, dealing with reading and writing and all that, because I had learned light language, which is multidimensional. So, and here reading and writing is linear, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I've definitely had challenges throughout my life, and but I really enjoy sharing, and sharing my experiences and reminding people that we're all cosmic citizens. And that's some of the key messages from the beings over and over, which I've been teaching for 40 years, is we're all one. Mm-hmm. And we could sure be focusing on that about now.
Yeah. I think some of the NDE guests that I've had will say that they've had negative after effects from their experience. Have you had any of those that you had to manage in your life?
Well, it's taken a while from when I had the near-death experiences and that to integrate it. It was hard to be here, and because you've been in these other frequencies, and then you're back here. So for me, it was a challenge integrating the experiences. It took me quite a while to integrate all of the near-death experiences. But if you're talking about going on the other side and seeing negative beings, I did not have that kind of experience. But coming back to Earth, it's like, wow, this is really depressing, because you're seeing everything looks kind of flat, compared to all these other dimensions, um, and the energy of the love that you're in at the time. So it's a come down for sure. And yeah, so definitely with integrating it,
Yeah,
going through everyday life.
yeah, I could definitely see that being a killjoy. I have been recently asking my guests this question. Some NDE experiencers do not share certain parts of their NDE with anybody or not with the general public, except maybe other NDE experiencers. I'm going to ask you the same question, and if there's some
Wow.
besides aliens or anything, is there anything in your NDE that you've never shared before that you would be willing to share with us?
There might be a few minor things that are too personal to share,
It's
but
okay.
but I'm really sharing really most of everything
Mhm.
that I experienced. And so yeah.
At least there is something there that you're not willing to share. So there's something going on with the different experiencers. It makes me curious what's going on, but there is
Yeah.
something.
Some things are, yeah, personal.
All right, some people may want to know this, and I should have asked this earlier. Can you describe what angels look like?
Wow. Well, I think there is a wide variety of angels, and I think there are different groups of angels who have different areas that they focus on. And when I see the angels, I see different colors of light. I'm a clairvoyant, so when I look at them, I can just see different colors, see them as different colors or vibrations, and the same is true when I'm seeing star beings. Um, so, and they will, when I'm communicating with them, they'll tell me if I ask them, what is their kind of specialty, or what is their focus. And so I love the angels. I'm constantly communicating with angels. They're awesome. I just see them as these huge, huge beings of light,
Mm.
that their light just extends out and out. And what we perceive as the wings is part of their energy, um, part of their energetic system. But I don't really, once in a while, I might see, they'll show me kind of a face, but I feel like they're showing me a face because um, they're wanting to look human, to connect or whatever, to make someone feel comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
But mainly, I'm just seeing these incredible globes of light and feel their energy, and do see flashes of different angels'
Mm.
faces now and then.
Now you're doing work as a hypnotherapist, and you're doing healing for people and star being communicating. What about your work that you do inspires you the most?
Oh my gosh. I got to say, I'm very blessed and fortunate. Every day of my life, I'm communicating with star beings, or talking to angels, um, or communicating with animals to help assist them in some way or other, and doing light language sessions, which I absolutely love, with people speaking star languages and that. Um, I have to say I love it all, and I really enjoy doing it all. And I do star origin readings for people to help them get connected with their original star families, their soul's star frequency that really runs through all their lifetimes. So I really enjoy doing that as well. And yeah, I really enjoy doing all of it. And I like assisting. You know, a lot of people will want to talk about their experiences, and I'm able to tune into those star beings who they have had experiences with in their childhood in this life, and I'm able to bring messages through to get them connected and to give them a frequency to get connected or to connect to their hybrid children, which I absolutely loved. I got to play with hybrid children on the ship. Um, and I love my own hybrid children greatly. Um, I just, it's great fun, you know, it's great fun.
Hmm. Well, you answered my question. I was going to ask you if you've ever met your hybrid children, but apparently you have.
Well, they actually came to me in a group because I have so many of them. So they came to me and spoke to me with one voice when I first really connected with them. And they, you know, shared just wonderful messages for me. I was very moved. I was weeping. And so we communicated. And so I have the ability to communicate with them whenever I want to. I do have a daughter who looks just like me, or she looked just like me when she was a hybrid child on the ship. And um, I wanted to take care of her and bring her to Earth, but that's not possible. But what they did was is they did integrate her eventually into the Earth plane. So she's on Earth, but I have not met her.
Wow.
And so many of the hybrid children now, I mean, they all look different. You know, some have black eyes, some have blue eyes, big eyes, not much hair, or a real mix of star being. They might have 3 fingers versus 5 fingers. So my daughter was the one who looked just like me, and so that was very hard for me. But they integrated her into the Earth plane, and they said there was a reason for our not meeting. Don't know if we'll ever meet, but we communicate telepathically. So I can send her a message, and she responds, which is beautiful. And she's doing healing work. That's her work here as a hybrid, where she's helping a lot of people with her work. So you know, the hybrids, you know, I'm a bridge, you know, and hybrids are bridges to help assist with the awakening, you know, with all the star seeds. And so it's going to continue to evolve and evolve. And each generation on the ships, those children are more evolved, and they're living throughout the different galaxies doing what they're meant to do. They're seeding the different universes in different ways, you know, however they're meant to do that. I love the hybrid children. They're all beautiful to me. And yeah, and a lot of people who might not think they have hybrid children do have hybrid children.
Yeah, I've had 2 guests, both male and female, I believe, say they have hybrids. I know one of them, this woman, I think she said she had about 20. I had another guest that she says that she was taken to a base underneath downtown LA, or a research lab, and she saw hybrids there, and she think they may have been hers. And then I've had a man that I think he was asked to create hybrids as well. So it's not that uncommon for me to hear this story.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And the good thing about it is, you know, the hybrid children are here to help humanity evolve. It's all part of the evolutionary process.
Mm-hmm.
And people's skills are opening up more, their intuitive skills and other abilities, clairvoyance and clairaudience and clairsentience, opening more to be who we really, who we all are innately. The codes are being activated and worked with. So there's definitely purpose to the hybrid children. It's not done in a random way. And they evolve, and the star beings evolve from all this too. They have not arrived, and they have said that to me, that they're evolving, that they're not better than us. They're more evolved, but that they are still evolving as well. So it's the whole cosmos is constantly evolving.
Have they ever indicated to you when there's going to be full disclosure and everybody will see them?
Well, I feel like we are the disclosure. I mean, I think again, a lot of people who are understanding that their star seeds and come from the stars. I think, and the hybrids, experiencers, whatever you want to say, with all of us sharing our experiences, that's getting us connected, and others are really realizing the truth of all that. I don't think the star beings are going to be landing on the White House lawn or anything like that. I mean, it kind of depends on what kind of disclosure you mean. If you're talking about the government and that, I'm not sure that will ever come, or I'm not sure I would believe what is said anyway. But there are definitely more star beings who are assisting Earth, and they're in their ships are in other dimensions. So a lot of people can't see them, but they're really watching over us. They are here to assist us in our process. But, I know you've heard this before, what would the military do if a star being ship landed and the occupants got out of the ship and held out their hand? What would happen?
It probably wouldn't be a good thing.
I don't think so. So, but there are many ways that the star beings are working, because actually, in a way, they're here. There are so many dimensions. They can be right here next to me in a dimension, but someone might not see them, because they have shown me this. I can look into 3 or 4 dimensions and see them right here. And then there's no such thing as time and space, so it gets kind of interesting. But they're around my house often. They're in my house often, and I love it. As long as I know who they are, and I only really communicate with the higher frequency evolved beings. One night was funny. I have a friend who lives across the street who's a psychic, and she said one night she saw a star being looking through her window, and she yelled at the star being and said, "Jacquelin lives across the street. You don't need to be here." So it was really funny. So they kind of end up here, and that's cool. And I learn a lot from them. They give me light language transmissions that I write down and share and have available to people at my website for purchase, and that from a lot of different races. And you can use them for healing or communicating with them, or in all kinds of ways. They're very powerful. Yeah.
I have heard that there are alien hybrids here that they look human, but they're very bad at human interaction and they befriend humans to help them. But ultimately, I've
Hmm.
heard that they're not here for a good reason and they are
Hmm.
psychic and they can go shopping. Let's say, they'll go to the gas station and they'll control his mind and say, yeah, here, the gas is free. Have you heard about any hybrids like that or any other hybrids that are here for nefarious reasons?
I've heard about it, but personally, I'm not in contact with any hybrids are like who are like that. I'm sure there's always the balance, right? There's always the spectrum. But personally, I have not interacted with any hybrids who are like that. The hybrids who I know are very loving and care about Earth and want to really be of service, to be helpful.
Hmm.
But yeah, I haven't been in touch with any of them.
All right, so you are a certified hypnotherapist. Do you get any clients that come to ask, like, hey, I've had an NDE, but I can't remember it all. Will you help me? Or maybe it's best to just ask, what are your average clients like that need your services?
Well, the people who I'm working with now, I'm working with experiencers mainly to help them understand their experiences that they've had or to recall, if they want to try and recall an experience, that they've had. So right now I'm pretty much working with just experiencers and, about their experiences and memories and what they remember, what they don't, and trying to support them with all of that.
That's mostly star being experiencers.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Have you ever done any past life regression for people?
I used to do a lot of past life regression work, and then um, I kind of just got focused on this. Um, and this has kind of been my focus. um, and so, but yeah, I used to do a lot of past life regression, and I recalled a lot of past lives of my own. I've had a lot more star being lives than human lives.
Mm-hmm.
But but yeah, I love past life regression work. It can really help people um, significantly. And I remember one woman I worked with, um, her when she came to me, and we went through a past life experience with her. Um, she quit smoking, and that wasn't any intention, but as a result, she quit smoking and was able to deal better with her current life. So, but yeah, I love past life work.
So you mentioned your website. What is your website? It's for people who want to find you.
It's www.jacquelinsmith.com. Jacquelin is Jacquelin. And people can visit there. There's all kinds of services that they can look over. All kinds of different consultations. I have 2 books that are out. Um, Animal Communication, Our Sacred Connection, and The Wisdom of Star Beings. That it's about animals and talks with animal souls. And I have a new book, I'm happy to say, coming out hopefully in the next 6 months called Star Being in the Mirror, My Journey as a Hybrid.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm excited about that. And but there's lots of things to look over at the site. People can check out light language codes there. I have some free light language um, downloads that people can listen to, for different things, for opening the heart and other things. So
can you get your books on Amazon as well, or can you only find them on your website?
Yes, definitely at Amazon. And they're also available through my website and Amazon. Yes.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Well, besides working on your next book, do you have any other projects that you're working on that you want us to know about?
Oh my goodness. I'm always working on something. I hope to be getting maybe an ebook together, something about light language. I'm also have just in the last 6 months or so, I'm allowing the star beings to come through and the play. We co-create music, star music that comes through them from the different races. And then I'm adding their particular star language to those tracks. And they're going to be available at my site pretty soon. So that's great fun. So I'm always doing something.
Well, that's good. All right. Well, before we wrap it up here, do you have one last message that you can leave us with?
I guess what I want to say is that the star beings always like to share is that we're all one, to live from our hearts, to focus on what we have in common, to take care of the earth. So those are some of the key messages. And if I might just, do a light language blessing really quick.
Yeah, that'd be
if that's
great.
okay.
Yeah.
Oleki ano tatay haino malaki ite usiana lia mahai ano tatay siana hianaka uleon daki amata eti takana amata usaki iti kauna mahala ua ute hutali makoana use iki narioko na mole ite to koreano na tayam makoya. And that's a blessing from the Lyrans.
Wow, that was amazing, that language. I've never heard that. It kind of reminded me of something Native American, something a little bit Pacific Island.
Yeah, a lot of people hear different things. So yeah, it's very powerful and it's amazing. Yeah.
All right, Jacquelin. Well, I really appreciate you giving me your time today. I wish you massive success on all your books, and I wish you the best.
Thank you. Well, thank you. And thank you so much, Jeff, for having me as a guest this evening. It's really been fun.
All right. Well, have a great evening.
Okay. Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks for watching the JeffMara podcast. I really appreciate you. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. And if you do, there are loyalty badges and other perks depending on your level of membership. All you need to do is click the join button underneath the video to find out more. Thank you for your support.